Well, hello, my dear Momentum listeners. Today, I want to talk about perfectionism and not the kind you may think like looking perfect or being perfect. But what happens when you are trying to be so perfect with your posts that you overthink them and you end up not posting anything? So, let's talk about this. Hey, I'm Veronica De Polo. You are about to experience the new way to become the visible entrepreneur, to thrive in your business and in your life, and standing up for what you want to create. With the help of my Branding Momentum podcast, you'll discover what mindset shifts you have to take to have the visible mindset, build the unique messaging to communicate with your potential audience. Get ready because here is where we say no to outdated society norms and we say yes to change. Welcome to the Branding Momentum podcast. What an annoying sensation not knowing what to do. I know it feels as if you're eating your head with that thought, right? I know not knowing what to post is a pain in the butt. And the fact is that if you don't know what to post, it can be because you most probably don't know what's valuable or what's interesting to whoever is consuming your content, right? Meaning your potential clients. You don't know what would they actually like. And what's holding a lot of people back is trying to create something perfect. You want that piece of content to be epic and amazing and great, and it's too much pressure on yourself. But also there's so much pressure on that one piece of content that actually stops you from putting content out there and thinking like this video or this podcast or this reel or this blog post can actually change things, or this thing can actually put me in the map. This could be the one that will actually make it. And yes, creating content is hard and time consuming and a lot of work, especially if you know that each social media platform works completely different and they actually are constantly changing their features and their algorithm. And you don't know if that same piece of content will work better where, right? And I know there are a lot of factors like what would people think if I'm controversial? What would people think if I put that piece of content and it's not connecting the right way? We are putting so much pressure on ourselves and on that piece of content. And overthinking stops you from taking decisions. And when you overthink your actions, you end up hurting your business brand. And what's causing pain is that when you actually go deep inside and you search what to do, you see and hear people like, Gary Vee and big marketers and Jasmine Star recommend that you need to post every day, that you need to hustle, that you need to push content like crazy and create TikToks and create reels and 6 times a day. And you feel you are behind and you feel you are not delivering and you get caught up in this hamster wheel of decisions that is so overwhelming that it's better to give up. And what's so much more important is to prioritize consistency rather than perfection. Because if you are regularly creating content, maybe the 30th reel or the 36th post is really the one that actually connects with the right person at the right time. And the thing is that if you don't create content consistently, you remain to be the invisible entrepreneur. And I know you've heard this before. If you don't post, people can't support you. They can't rally behind you. They can't buy your services. They can't recommend you to other people. They don't know you exist. Yes, I know. So if you are creating content to have more visibility, in your business, then why aren't you creating content? Yes, my friends, that is the hard truth. And the reason you are not creating content is most probably fear. Fear of what the wrong people will think. Because if you were thinking about the right people, then you would be motivated to create content because then they would actually love it and they would support it, and good things will actually happen from that. But you are also connecting with that potential person that you are saying something to them at the right time. And maybe you're thinking, okay, for me, it's not so much about the fear, it's the time consuming to create all that bunch of content. But instead of listening to so many people, why not start testing things? Who says you need to post every day? I wish I could see your faces and you would answer that to me. Who says that you need to post every day? Your clients? Your potential clients? Those people that you actually don't know right now? Are they actually telling you that you have to do that every day and 3 times a day? And the fact is, yes, you don't have to post every day, but you have to do it consistently. You have to do it with a purpose, with an intention. And there's probably some expectation that you may have of the time that it will actually take you to create the quality of content that we would not feel embarrassed or fearful of putting it out. And this comes from the thinking, I don't have time to create something as perfect as I want it to be, so that people think whatever. Perfectionism is ego, my friends. And ego is, as Gary Vee says, and I don't know if you know him, ego is insecurity in makeup. Now, the solution to begin making consistent content and not getting frustrated is that you need to create an action plan. Yes, I know you've heard this before from everybody, but we are not listening. We don't have our ears open. Think of it like this. You start to create constant content and you start testing phase by phase. And I want to quickly mention that if you haven't heard a previous podcast that I did, which was called Repeating Always Won't Give You Visibility, Shifting Your Mindset Will. Please go ahead and check that before you enter this new phase, because it will give you more clarity into moving forward. Okay, so assuming you know about the science experiment and not treating your business like a math problem, you'll be creating an experiment with your content. What I'm actually about to explain to you is a part of my program, Visibility on Social Selling, which is all about social visibility on module 1. So like I said, you need to create an action plan. And if you've been consuming my content for a while, then you know I used to love creating content that was intentional and in themes. And 1 year ago, I was all about themes. And then I realized that the themes, they were good, but actually the intentional part, the understanding of who you are creating content for, was a better approach. So my content now is very intentional, and there are 4 seasons to creating intentional content. And that is visibility, engagement, leads, and sales. So every business lives in these 4 seasons. You are not all the time on selling season. No, you're not. And let me explain what I mean. When you think in terms of seasons for your content, I want you to think of seasons for the entire year. You are not going to be, generating content for leads and sales all year round. Otherwise, people will lose interest and you will lose interest because you are making them. And obviously, selling all the time does not create demand for what you are actually offering. So you cannot be selling all the time. And nobody likes a salesy kind of person. Nobody wants a pushy kind of person. Well, because when you actually push people to do something, they actually push back and they ignore you. So some of the things that you need to consider when you are creating this intentional content are what's happening in your business and in your surroundings, locally or externally, and do you actually agree? Maybe you don't agree, okay? So another one is on which specific holidays you want to promote your business, because sometimes you don't have to be creating content on a regular kind of day selling. So maybe you want to be more intentional on Valentine's, on holiday, Hanukkah, and Christmas, and whatever holiday you are in. You want to be creating intentional content that attracts people the right way so they actually go and buy your stuff, right? So here's another one for you. Does your business value help someone buy from you? So if you think that's what could make your potential client actually appreciate your services, then share your values. Otherwise, very cautious here. If the answer is no, what would make your potential clients change their mind about something that you do that they actually do not know about your business? Okay, let me give you another one. What actually differentiates you from your competitors? And I want you to think, what do they actually don't have that you actually do in your business? Okay, let me give you another one. What changes you want to make in your niche and in your surroundings? If you had a magic wand, imagine if you had a magic wand, what would that one thing you want to change? What would that change be? Another one, what kind of experience you can share that can be valuable to someone that doesn't know anything about your business without revealing everything how you do it, just enough to create curiosity. And then the last one, what are some of the objections that your potential clients may have about your business and your services? Right? So once you have uncovered all these answers, then you can actually sit down and come up with at least top 10 topics that you want to create content around them. And these 10 topics will actually give you content for at least 2 months and a half. That is a lot of content, okay? That is a lot of content. And what I suggest is that you plan out these topics based on the seasons that you are currently right now. And you can change the tone and the direction of what you actually want to say. Listen, when you actually do ask questions to your audience, like what do they want? What do they need? All these things that we hate seeing, but people asking, how are we feeling today? What are we struggling? What is our pain? What is all of this? This is actually great content to know what to be posting. And then you are going to decide what's the best vehicle to share and create this weekly topics, okay? And this can be actually a blog post, or it can be a podcast, a reel, a video, a TikTok, a carousel. So let me give you an example. And this is from far back, okay? In my business, we used to create one topic per week because we used to think in terms of themes. Like think of your answers as themes. And we were creating one main topic, and then we were chopping that little piece of content into little pieces. And from that, let's say that podcast or that video, we were creating a full podcast or a blog post or a video, and we were creating quotes from what we were saying and turning them into pictures into post, right? And then we were creating mini audios and mini videos like sneak peeks to promote that episode. And then we were also creating like another post or a reel, creating an image or a mini GIF or something like that, right? Because when you're taking one thing and then you chop it into different little pieces, it allows you to share it in other social media platforms. Like, for example, if you are on Instagram and you are on LinkedIn, they're not going to be the same kind of people, but you can share the same kind of content. What actually needs to change is what you're actually saying in your messaging in the captions, right? And back then, we didn't actually post every single day. We posted on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays because we were testing things out. But we were consistently posting into our 6 main platforms at the time, right? We were using YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and Pinterest and Twitter, and never the same day and never the same image or video, because all these platforms, have different behaviors, and we were testing to see which images and videos were better and what were the kind of things that were resonating more with people. So we were creating better content around those things that were actually working. Now, for you right now in my business, we do post right now from Monday through Friday. We don't post Saturday and Sunday. No, we are the resting days, right? But what we are doing is that we are still testing what is the piece of content that is resonating the most. We are tapping into people's struggles, into people's pains, what we see that people are actually doing wrong and mistakes, which is everything that I've just said, or things that we want to actually change for somebody to do. Just recently, as you're listening to me right now, we were in our lead generation and our sales season. Why? Because I was launching visibility on social selling. I was very intentional with my messaging. I was very direct. I was like, there is nothing that can stop us. And we were talking about, people to buy. But when you are, for example, on your visibility season or on your engagement season, in the visibility season, most of our businesses are 90% in visibility. Why? Because you want people to see you. You want people to get to know you. You want people to discover you, right? And then in the engagement season, is that actually when you want to be learning, you want to be an experiment, you want to be testing things out, you want people to actually make comments on your posts and on your reels, right? You want that engagement. So that piece of topics, I would say, those kind of contents need to be more intentional with the engagement, or what you actually want those potential customers that don't know anything about your business to do something, which is to engage. And that's why we have calls to action, right? So I am going very blah, blah, blah here and saying everything. Listen, the bottom line is that if you actually manage to answer these questions and you get these 10 topics, these 10 things, and you start testing them out and start seeing any traction, please let us know. This is an experiment also for us, because as you do the work and you do it consistently and you actually don't push your brain to think that, yes, I'm going to do it once. Maybe you said it in the wrong way. Listen, asking questions is good. Asking questions, asking your audience is very good. Ask your current clients, like, what made them decide to buy from you? What made them choose your services? This is juicy information. And a lot of people forget to do this. You are working right now with humans. So you need to ask humanly questions, right? So as you're listening to this, we're still promoting our visibility on social selling, right? But we're also promoting the nail your messaging, which is actually the one that I'm really more passionate about, because that's the one that is free and is going to give you all these questions to these answers and actually how to transform your copy and your messaging and how you are going to design what you are going to be saying. If this is something that you're lacking, that you don't have that structure of what to say, how to say it, what's the call to action, how I want to be empathetic, or how to create that hook on social media. Because listen, we only have 3 seconds to get people's attention. And you got to give them hooks, and you got to empower them, entertain them, and and educate them and give them a clear call to action. So I really want you to go right now into veronicadepolo.com/nail, okay? And get that free 7-video training. It's super juicy. It's super juicy. And if you're up to it, to the challenge, we're still running VOS selling. And that is getting you really hands-on on how to be persuasive, how to change people's perspective without being pushy, how to actually not change someone's mind, because sometimes people are where they're at and you have to meet them where they're at. And we actually teach you the new messaging way. If this is something that you're lacking on your social media, on your website, and yes, and on everything that you're putting out as written, then come and join us. Okay? I hope to see you same time, same place next week. Bye-bye.